Hi everyone, welcome to Challenge Raters. My name's Theo.
I'm Neil, social media manager.
And I'm Sam. Welcome to the show. Today, I will be leading the monster description, and I'm just going to throw it out there. It's a Hydra.
Oh! Hydra, that's a real good one.
Hydras.
Now the
yeah.
Hydra. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to write the word Hydra for now, just to look at it for a second.
Should I just begin with the description that the
monster
describes? So, the Hydra is a reptilian horror with a crocodilian body and multiple heads on long serpentine necks. Although its heads can be severed, the Hydra magically regrows them in short order. A typical specimen has 5 heads. At the dawn of time, Tiamat, which I hope is the right way of saying it, the queen of evil dragons, slew a rival dragon god named Lernica. Well, I think it's Lernica, or Lernissa, I'm not sure. And cast her blood across the multiverse. Each drop that fell upon a world spawned a multi-headed Hydra consumed by a hunger as great as the fallen god's hatred. Great champions are known to test their mettle against these fearsome creatures.
So it's an unholy spawn of Tiamat.
Yes. It's an unholy spawn of Lernacia.
Lernacia.
Like a lot of things in D&D, it's created by a god doing something to someone.
Yes. Indeed.
So how exactly was it created again? Just rewind that for me.
No problem. Tiamat, the queen of evil dragons, slew a rival dragon god, and the blood from that fight was strewn across the multiverse, and each drop produced a Hydra.
I do like that his blood was just splattered across the universe, and that's what did it.
A truly epic brawl.
Because I for one know that Neil cannot go 5 seconds with a Hydra without thinking about Jason and the Argonauts, the classic movie.
That is true. That is completely
and
true.
The Ray
I was literally
Harryhausen.
thinking of that as Sam said Hydra. I was immediately like, I'm gonna throw down some Hydra chief, get some skeleton bonus.
That's the thing. The children of the Hydra's teeth, skeletons. This is what I'm drawing here. This is just a bit of fun. I might take a second to think about it again afterwards.
That's fine.
Because this is quite an action. But I mean, I'm already done if I'm not going to do that for one thing. Yeah, I'm just going to get rid of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with a Hydra, there is quite a lot going on.
I mean, yeah, there's loads going on.
I did and ah about it, as it is quite a complex creature.
Oh no, I'm keen.
Sweet.
You also have to think about the body quite a bit, because I've seen bipedal and quadrupedal Hydra.
Bipedal's interesting. I've not thought of doing a bipedal one.
The one in the manual itself is a quadrupedal one.
Yeah, it's a good old-fashioned fantasy dragon bod, but with a bunch of snaky heads, isn't it?
It is exactly that.
Speaking of snaky head, it's a dragon blood thing. So obviously the Hydra in lots of different versions of it ranges from being very snake-like to being, any other wormy monster.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot. Obviously, I think the cool thing of Hydras is because they're so prevalent in many different kinds of medium. You can you got a bit of license there. Like the one in the manual, like they're fairly dragony faces, but because of obviously it loves like the kind of it's usually quite suited to like an aquatic environment. I think they sometimes take that more serpenty kind of.
Right. Does it have like a swim speed or like breathe underwater as a trait?
It has a swim speed that matches its like normal speed, so it's got a swim of 30 feet. It doesn't breathe underwater, but it can hold its breath for an hour.
Oh, okay. So basically, in terms of like a combat, it can breathe underwater.
It can lie in wait. Yeah.
But it can't live underwater.
It can't live underwater.
Like I'm already thinking with like that pre-description role of you could maybe, if you're getting very high level in a campaign and you're dealing with like the elements of like the gods of the setting, you could find it literally in a pool of blood in some ancient temple. Some ancient temple to a fallen god made by a speck of long astral dust laid down years ago or something.
I'm even now thinking as a magic item you could give people a bottle of that dragon's blood and they don't know what to do, but if it gets dripped on the ground, Hydra could pop out as like a weird summony thing. It could be fun. I'm just gonna have these like tentacle heads like writhing around each other for a bit before I get to the body. Like they're gonna be real close together. And
I think I chose the Hydra because from a playing standpoint, it was probably one of the first fights that I remember quite fondly, and in that it challenged you to how you approach the monster quite differently from just trying to hit it a lot.
Yeah, and we, of course, when we first fought a Hydra, you and I, that was in 4th edition, so it was slightly different to what we're currently going with.
Yeah.
But it was definitely it was very much a different set of beasts to every other sort of encounter. Of course, it was the first time a character of mine died.
I was literally also about to say it's memorable because it's the first time I had a character death in a campaign was from a Hydra. So
it was a heroic sacrifice.
Yes.
Completely unnecessary heroic sacrifice. Like many character deaths of mine, completely avoidable. But that's just
necessary character sacrifices, but you just be too blasé.
Exactly. It's got to be for something that doesn't matter in a session that only half of the players had actually turned up for.
Exactly.
In a campaign which I think ended... Oh no, there's a few more sessions before we ended it after that.
Yeah.
How big is a Hydra? What's its scale? What's its size?
Its size is a huge monstrosity.
Huge. Now, huge is what? Is that 15 by 15?
Yes.
Or 3 by 3 squares?
Yeah,
isn't
it will be, yeah.
Right,
so
right.
I am really enjoying the writhingness of this.
The writhing is enjoying. I'm going to really get stuck in there with the writhing when I do the final colouring. I do want to focus on one of the heads though, because I need to make some design choices. Does the Hydra have a breath attack or anything like that?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have any kind of range attack at all.
So just nibbles on you.
Yeah, it has multi attack, so it makes an attack for the number of heads it has.
That's right. That's like a fun visual for like how it works.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, a high level fighter will have like 5 attacks or whatever, but having an attack per head, I think, is very fun.
Yeah.
Does it incur any status effects or anything like that?
No, not really. The only thing I'd say that it has, like, on an effects basis is that it also gains reactions for each head it has.
Okay, so its eyes have got to be real looking out there because it knows
these reactions can only be used for it can only use them for opportunity attacks. But that does mean that if someone runs in on their own and wants to leave, they could possibly face like 5, 6
believe that
opportunity attacks.
That was what gave us the heroic sacrifice moment. Was
yes.
We had to get as many people away from as possible. So someone basically had to be left behind. I think was essentially the.
Well, that Hydra was, being 4th edition, was slightly different from the 5th one. In 4th edition, Hydras did have breath weapons too.
Right,
had,
and of course we didn't say, but Neil was the DM for that as well. So yes, he is the one who ran that for us. But yeah, so they didn't have
proper breath weapons, but they had like spit, like acidic spit and stuff like that they could loogie up.
And of course, I don't think we've mentioned it specifically, but we are fully in favour of people taking stuff from 4th edition, specifically monster things, because there's a lot of cool stuff in there, from what I remember.
Oh yeah, I was going through the 4th edition monster manual not too long ago, because in 5th edition there's lots of monsters. But in 4th edition there's lots of monsters with weird things about them that were like for the game mechanics that you can just take and steal and change about and make stuff more interesting. It's really cool. I recommend doing it. Particularly to the Hydra, because there's like 20 different Hydras in that book.
Yeah, I was about to say, because are there different coloured ones like there are for dragons? Or is it just...
in 5th edition, there's just the one Hydra input, kind of, so
Yeah, if I remember, there was like different elemental kind of ones, but it was like acid and like poison and stuff, if I remember.
Speaking of acid and poison, does the Hydra have any damage immunities / resistances / vulnerabilities, in fact?
Not that I can see.
Because, of course,
I don't believe so.
I think, does it have the thing where it doesn't regenerate if it takes fire damage?
Yeah, so I guess I might as well explain it, because obviously one of the big things is the head's growing back, and I don't know if it changes between editions. That's the word I was looking for. Right. The way it works here is they do say it has a base. It does start with 5 heads. Obviously, you can change that for yourself, which I think is a really good way of like upscaling or maybe descaling a Hydra fight if you want to put it into a certain part of your campaign potentially. But the way it works is, so it has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. Presumably because there's more heads, so those kind of things that would affect someone's mind.
Yeah, you'd have to scare all of its heads.
Yeah, so that's probably why that's the way they've given it advantage in those. Basically, whenever the Hydra takes 25 or more damage in a single turn, one of its heads die. If all its heads die, the Hydra dies. But at the end of its turn, it grows 2 heads for each head it lost that died in that turn. Yeah, unless it's taken fire damage, and it gains 10 hit points for each head that regrows this way.
Yeah, so You will kill it if you're only doing like the minimum damage to like damage heads, but it'll take a while.
Yeah,
I think is the.
Well,
the
you'll
thing
never
there,
kill
isn't
it because it's like 30 attacks. It will have.
Oh, and that as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it will kill you first if you can do it that way.
With those condition immunities, there's something cool in the description as well about it being sleeping, isn't there? Where it's like if the Hydra's asleep, one head is always awake.
Oh yeah, well the Hydra sleeps, at least one of its heads is awake. Yep,
Oh, so
that is
you can't-
that is verbatim what it is. Yeah, so
Yeah.
if
You can't sneak up.
you can't sneak up on one of them, there's always
fun.
one on watch.
But yeah, as I said about the tricking it with the heads that you're talking about scaling it, I did that one fight against you in the other game of D&D where it was a one-headed Hydra.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember that, and we didn't know what it was until we did the initial damage.
I think as I
Inside,
always
like,
do,
oh, no.
and always did, and I didn't realise how annoying it would be till I started DMing more. But I think I was like, oh, that's going to be a one-headed Hydra, literally the round before you revealed that.
Yeah, because you've been fighting it for a little bit.
I did that so much, and I can only apologise.
Yeah, you'd been fighting it for a little bit, so I still got the... It wasn't like it popped up on screen and you immediately pointed at it like a pod person and went, Hydra!
Yeah, no, I
like-
didn't, it wasn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't psychic, but it was literally, I just had this premonition.
I think I
like,
was
oh, no,
beginning
it's-
the sentence to show you it was a
Yeah,
Hydra.
it's all, I was just too keen because I was excited and we
Too
think along
eager.
similar terms because we like similar things and stuff.
I am very into this Eastern style Hydra.
He's a bit of a Shenron, isn't he? I
Yeah.
didn't quite realise it because I was thinking like along the terms of like it was like a bit of a soup dragon from the what they
Clangers.
call it? The clangers, thank you.
Yeah.
And other things. He's a very well. He's friendly, might not be the right word, but he's a sort of grinning. Yeah, he looks a bit friendly. He looks a bit like a child Hydra, but I'm gonna make him. What's their intelligence actually? Yeah, actually. No, 'cause
So obviously the thing that stat-wise that differentiates them a lot from their dragon kin is they are very, very stupid.
Oh, are
They're
they?
intelligence
Okay.
of
2.
2.
That's so. We were having a chat about another monster a second ago, and we were just laughing at its bad stats. But it at least had 3 intelligence. 2. This thing is. That might be. I don't think anything has lower than 2. Like I don't think anything actually has a
I
1.
think like an
intelligence.
ooze might have like...
Oh yeah, something that literally is barely even like alive.
So
Yeah.
another fit. So I was looking at that like its stat distribution, and another this goes in with kind of another part of its description, which is everlasting hunger, which basically
Okay.
basically goes on about how the Hydra like is like insatiably hungry, like it always snatches and tears at its prey in like a frenzy of feeding, and it basically acts like a giant locust and will just go through lands, just clearing out any animal that can't escape it.
Oh gosh,
And
that's pretty cool actually.
And if it can't find anything to feed, it will turn against itself and start eating its like other heads alive.
You know what I kind of like. What it is it was reminding me of in terms of dragons from like mythology and stuff. It really is just like a really ancient idea of what a dragon. Because like the idea of dragons being like smart and cunning is kind of something we get from a bunch of things, but like from Tolkien and from a little bit from some Asian stuff with like Orochi being a dragon that was like a tyrant. I think it was sort of a monster first, but it was also like in charge of a place, as opposed to just being a monster that is very powerful and scary. So having it just being a destructive force, I think is quite cool.
Yeah.
And like a chaotic thing as well, because obviously it is like a chaotic monstrosity because it's a multi-headed thing born of nothing deliberate, as it were. It's like a curse on the land as opposed to an animal, which I guess is reflected in its very low intelligence as well.
Another thing that differentiates it from anything to do with dragons is that it has another part of its thing is it's a hardy water dweller, which means that as a natural swimmer, it dwells in rivers along lake shores, ocean shallows, like bogs, etc. It doesn't really need to take shelter, so they very, very rarely have a lair. Only in very cold climates would they be drawn to like going into a cave or something like that.
So they literally just sort of wander until something kills them, I suppose.
Yeah.
Either that being itself or
Essentially,
a party.
Yeah, they don't really take up residence somewhere. I guess, which makes sense. They wouldn't have a lair because they probably devour at like an unsustainable rate for any area.
Yeah. That's actually really quite cool. I'm quite a fan of this. Again, as we have discovered with ghouls and the Manticore, the side benefit of Challenge Raiders is thinking about monsters in a way that is like meant to be what they are in the book and stuff, but it's just sort of bringing that stuff to light. Because often especially with like Hydra and stuff like that, you'll have a lot of preconceptions based on things that you've seen, like there's one in Hercules, the Disney one, and there's obviously Jason the Argonauts, as I already mentioned, but having them being this sort of like force of nature, like a primal, ye old dragon of pagan mythology, I think is quite a cool take on it. Especially because like having like a super intelligent, charismatic dragon character is really cool as well. But
it's
it means
good to have
that
the counterpart as well.
Exactly, having one or either or both is I think that's a nice little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they specifically monstrosities?
They are huge monstrosities. Yes.
What? So dragons are different, aren't they? They're dragons, aren't they?
Yeah. They're their own thing.
Right. So they don't count as dragons.
The Hydra, I guess, in keeping with its kind of very low intelligence and just, complete hunger, it's completely unaligned as well. It doesn't have any. It doesn't think about anything or do anything. Right. It just does it because that's what it does.
Anyway, and we're back. What were we saying? Dragons, primal, blah blah blah. What I will say is we're making one of these heads a little bit older looking, and it's got like more horns because it's like kind of being. It feels to me like a mutant creature. The Hydra. So I think the idea of having one of its older heads being like kind of like how if a rat's teeth keep growing as it. Do you know what I mean? If it doesn't use them, and like it gets to like horrific points, I think having that could be quite interesting on a Hydra. Again, having it being something that's not really meant to be alive, and that's the benefit of monstrosities, is they can be gross because they don't have to make sense.
No,
already what I've been thinking about, like as we've been talking about the Hydra, is some of the crazy stuff you can like do with it, like fitting into what you've said, like. You talk about devouring their own heads. You could have a trapped Hydra who's been devouring his own heads.
Oh, nice.
So you could have him have like more heads than normal, like 6 or 7 heads, and you could just have like 2 like dead, decaying heads.
Yeah.
That it's been like,
and that could be a way of having it a weaker Hydra,
or more powerful, more heads.
More powerful, more heads, or just a case of if you want to. If you do just want to have like, this is why you can fight a Hydra now because it's already been eating itself. It's like a good way of getting that lore point across. And
I think the thing that really came to when I was thinking through, like looking at it earlier today when I was doing my small bit of research, was actually like on that kind of intelligence bit about how I've never seen an intelligence that low, and it started getting me thinking about like kind of more creative scenarios that you could maybe try and like trap or disable. Like a Hydra.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like beyond that idea, I couldn't really think of anything too concrete because it is so big and powerful. Like it has 20 strength and like 20 con, so it's going to be very hard to trap it. So it does.
Obviously,
But I was thinking maybe as like a way for like you could have it in a fight, but like you don't actually fight it. It's more like a problem that you could have to solve.
That's a quest.
Like
that's
that.
not a fight.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
there is a Hydra rampaging around the kingdom.
And you could try and use that, how base it's going to be to your advantage.
Yeah, you can also make it clear to like a group of low-level adventurers that they do not stand a chance against it.
Yeah.
No.
But it's something that if you had like a level 1 to 3 party, it's something you could tell them about that they can work towards without feeling like, when are we going to be ready for this? Because like if you're not like super new to D&D, you have like a vague idea of where like a Hydra should be in terms of like difficulty and stuff. Obviously, if you were to do like a cool sort of like a Japanese mythology inspired campaign, you could have like Orochi as like the big villain and have that be just like an amped up Hydra or something like that. But yeah,
I was thinking that as you're drawing, because of these, I love how like Easterny your drawing is right now. I was thinking like this version of the Hydra, it'd be great to have in like a campaign where people are playing like the samurai class and monk class, and like you're actually doing a journey to the west or something, like
that could be very
style
cool.
campaign.
I'd play in that campaign. I'd play Fats Piccolo, my favourite character. Anyway, but yeah, I think it's something about the Hydra which is I try to get the stupid across with the eyes.
Yes. The kind of vacantness almost.
Dumb big, because I originally did the big eyes because I was like underwater, gross fish eyes. This eye back here looking too smart. If something looks angry, it can look smart. Because if it's angry, that means it understands the situation well enough to be angry about it.
Yes.
The only way to make something look really, really stupid is to make it have no real expression, apart from like open mouth, like a stupid dog. This one in particular looks like a stupid dog.
Well, you could make it incredibly more by making all the eyes bloodshot. Some like primal rage that never ends.
When I get to the colouring, we'll see and the detail of I might make this thing. See, this one back here, obviously this is the oldest head.
A regal crown.
One of those snapped off.
Yeah.
Might give it some sort of long, gross beard. Because that's another thing. Dragons with hair. I've not quite decided where I stand on that. But sometimes it's good.
I like it when they look like they have hair, but it's like naturally formed chin.
Right. Yeah.
I'm thinking like
I'm always in
Skyrim.
Oh yeah, we've just got a scale beard essentially. I think hair, a Shenron with his moustache, is pretty reasonable if you ask me. I guess I should get to this body I have been like ignoring. I can keep that for now.
I mean, to be fair, the business end of the Hydra is definitely...
That's the thing, yeah. You can just have it popping out of a pool, and you don't have to worry about describing or having a body, because it...
I mean, this isn't fully my idea. I did look up a small Reddit thread, and I don't want to be claimed, when this gets out there to all the audience, that I came up with this on my own completely. So I will credit... what's his name? Someone came up with an idea. Quaffcraft on the RD&D came up with the idea.
D&D.
Yeah, r/D&D.
No, our D&D.
Our D&D.
On RD&D.
Yeah.
We invented D&D Reddit, if you didn't know.
Yeah, it's all of ours. But he basically, I think it'd be a very cool scenario in that you have a bunch of adventurers like going like maybe across a bridge or through like they're basically going over a bit of water, like going from like island to island across it, and lots of heads rise up from like different areas almost, so it looks like there could be different creatures.
Yeah, sea serpents of some
sea serpents
sort.
rise up, and you could, for example, if you wanted to make the fight like way harder, you could try and like spin it on its head a little bit, where like if a head doesn't take enough damage to die, it just ducks under the water and heals.
Oh yeah, that's kind of scary actually, and also it means that you can control the difficulty by just saying there was another head underwater that there wasn't, or
exactly
start low and then gauge it how you want.
Exactly, there's a lot you can do with it there, which I think
That's
really interesting.
the problem I've encountered as a DM, is showing off how many enemies are in the encounter from the start and it being way too many. That's the problem.
Yeah.
This monster is going to be the first that's going to go off the canvas, by the way, but I think that's okay because I'm making a scene.
It is huge.
It's big. The back end of it I don't care much about, and I hope the audience, I hope you don't care either, you crater, you.
Speaking of which, for the craters, we were oh dude, no, oh my god, creators.
That's us then,
yeah,
aren't we?
We're the creator.
Oh god, I really did like.
Gets worse every time.
I did really like the that we are falling into the content creator. That amused me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the content creator.
I will also say I'm doing something wretched, which I do like to do. It's my new thing. When you're doing something chaotic and hideous, just give it a horrible human body.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Out of all the things we've drawn, I'm not into this.
Yeah, I mean, it's gross. I'm not going to detail too much, but that's definitely like a human back. Sort of human back I've got going on there. I like that a lot.
I think this is going to be a monster in the new Souls game.
Yeah. It does seem like they could maybe grow out of like some giant's head.
I'm really looking forward to when we do Kraken, because Krakens are one of my favourite enemies or monsters in D&D. But also I already have like a Kraken design that I've come up with that I really enjoy, and it's.
Is it like the man
it's
from
not-
Clash of the Titans?
I've drawn it before, so technically, if anyone, I could put the version that I've done on the screen now, flash it on screen. Spoilers, but then if we do, when we do it, I'll do a new one. So yeah, one day the Kraken, that'll be great. But for now, Hydra with his human hands.
Oh, is he gonna have opposable thumbs?
Yeah, oh yeah. He's got a thumb.
I'm
That's
not
his thumb
into
there.
this.
He's gonna have some nasty little claws as well. That's pretty gross. He's got real short, stubby arms as well.
I'm not rating Storm and Norman's chances against this beast.
Oh, don't worry. He's gonna come in over this side as well. He's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a little bit bigger than it actually is.
I mean,
in
it
terms
could
of,
be that big if you want it to be.
Yeah, you can make it.
is he
big.
gonna have a lantern?
Oh, that'd be quite spooky. This thing's sort of emerging out of the.
Oh,
Now,
that'd be too
what I
much
could
for you.
do, there's its leg stretching from behind.
Oh,
God, that's how am I gonna?
It would have splayed ankles like a lizard, I guess.
I mean, I'm just trying to think of like the actual biology of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might not draw this bit, but I might just demonstrate what I mean by shrinking it. Now this is going to be an interesting lesson in anatomy, which I'm not like qualified to teach. So here's its butt down here. It's twisting its back, and then there's its leg coming up there and bending down. Do you see what I mean?
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And I guess this leg's just sort of like sitting down like that. It's a
Draw me like your French monstrosities.
He's a bit of a Michelangelo. I quite like that now. Actually, I think I might keep that pose. But again, just resize that so we don't get that. I don't want this to be demonetized.
Oh, it's a
Nice.
Not that any money is being made of this
It's a
right
face
at this
train
point.
of a creature. Oh,
There's its leg.
I'm very.
Oh yeah, he's very.
I'm just gonna close one of my eyes and forget about the back half.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll be reminded by the knee though up here.
Oh.
This human leg. Because
Fantastic.
dragons can turn into people.
Yeah, but
Actually, can I do
but
it?
not like this.
Yeah, but it's like a bad dragon.
No,
So-
don't Google that. Oh,
Is there anything else
Gosh.
you'd like to hear or discuss about the Hydra?
I think I should probably add a Norman in. I'll rough in a proper
yeah,
Norman.
let's get Norman in.
Just
on
so we
this.
can, because Norman, as you say, I wouldn't fancy his chances here either. This is a one man versus a Hydra at any level is going to be quite tricky. What is its challenge rating? Speaking of, actually,
Its challenge rating is 8.
8. You see, even a high level individual might find a Hydra a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, its attacks have a +8 to hit and a reach of 10, and on a hit they will do 1d10 plus 5 damage, piercing.
What should Norman be doing? He's looking pretty. This is a proud pose I've drawn him in.
So on average, on average, it's going to be doing about 50 damage each round
Ooh,
with the 5 heads.
he's just going to be doing one of these. Come at me. No. I do like to think that Storm and Norman is brave, but he does scream a lot during his bravery.
Yeah.
Because you can't be brave unless you're afraid. But he as we said last
As
time,
soon as
he
a
is
man can be brave.
he is our Volo, so he does go out and experience these horrifying things. But
Yeah.
currently I'm just drawing him in a very neutral pose. I do like the lantern because it means I can do some nice lighting things.
Yeah.
So he's just going to be holding a lamp, which I guess he's just lit this lamp.
He's just realised what he's stumbled upon.
Yeah, and he's obviously... Because again, as you're saying, they don't have a lair, which means you can put them anywhere.
Yeah. I think probably one of the only other interesting things I was thinking about with that is kind of forcing a party out of a comfort zone by
Right,
having it
right.
in a kind of aquatic plane, as it was. If you've got heavy armored people and they're having to
Ooh,
wade into
yeah.
shallow water to fight it.
Because it's always... having encounters in places that are difficult terrain, as it were.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
specifically difficult terrain, but terrain that makes it challenging is quite a weird one, because if you have bottomless pits, that just means people die.
Yeah.
And you can't have that really.
It's not that fun.
Yeah, well you can, but you need to be careful about how you do it.
Yeah.
But having just having deep water could be quite a cool one, and that's
Yeah.
not something that I've personally done. Maybe if I end up running a campaign, which I'd like to soon, I do want to think quite hard about designing battle maps and making fights interesting on multiple levels, including environment. And I think that's a important thing to think about when you got your monster.
I'd agree.
That's a Norman.
But
he's just standing there right now. But for now, that'll do.
Yep, that will do.
I spent a little bit longer, once again, working on the Hydra. And...
Oh, I love it.
Oh my lord.
Oh, that's so cool.
Look
there
at,
it is.
Look at that! Look at that dopey boy.
He's.
Oh.
I mean, yeah. I changed a few things with Norman. If you recall, before he was
He's like, was he holding a lantern up to them? Wasn't he?
He was holding a lantern, looking at him, but because of the setting of what I chose as the background, it wouldn't have made sense. So he's just unaware. He's failed his perception check.
Oh, shit.
Oh, this is like Space Dandy or something.
Yeah, man.
Like, again, I've been heavily influenced by JoJo Part 4 with the sky colouring and also with the clouds.
I can really tell with like the neon kind of colours.
Yeah.
It's very good.
The Hydra should be green. Is that what's happened? Was he yellow?
Yeah, he's green.
He's like a he's green
and he's got like the blue like accents and details on the fins and stuff.
Yeah.
Again, very good.
Green and yellow is one of those ones which I can't really see the difference between. But yeah, he's a true monstrosity.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of focus in on that back quarter there. That was a good bit of fun trying to figure out how that works.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, but because you didn't draw the back of it.
If you just
cut the image like it's like the left 2/3. That's all Neil can see. I think it's great.
Thank you. The heads they're right.
It's cool.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say it's cool having a body that's as twisting as all of the heads. It's like a continuous kind of.
Yeah. I really don't.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, I like, but I also hate those Hydra like depictions you get, which is just like a dinosaur, like brontosaurus body with lots of necks coming out of it.
Yeah.
In a way, I love that because it's classic and funny, but I would never. If I did that, I would not like it. It wouldn't be what I'd do. And I guess that's kind of the point of Challenge Raiders, beyond just having a nice chat about what we think about the monsters, but also to, for me to do a bit of design practicey stuff.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty happy with
you're
this.
You're not trying to emulate the official artwork at all. You're very much your style, your techniques.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with the concept of this design, and mostly happy with the execution of it as a drawing. But how do we feel about the Hydra in general? Because we did not rate it before it was finished, obviously. So we
you have to challenge rate it now.
Well, I'm coming in right now with mine.
Yeah.
I like Hydras a lot, as you guys probably know from me using them in D&D.
I think you've had a Hydra in every campaign that you've run that I've been a part of.
Yep, I always put Hydra in because it's a cool monster.
That's fair.
And from everything that we've learned and this cool art, it's an awesome creature. But I think I'm gonna rank it lower than the other things we've done. And the reason why I'm gonna do that is that at the end of the day, the Hydra is just a monster. It's a cool monster, but it's big and powerful, and I think it really only has one use as a big, powerful monster.
I think the Hydra has gone up in my estimation as all the monsters we've done so far have.
Definitely.
I do find myself agreeing with you though. Well, for example, to like talk about the Ghoul again, I kind of almost wish I could go back and rank the Ghoul even higher than I did, because the more I think about Ghouls, the more I like them. Whereas the Hydra, again, the idea of it being a sort of mutant, chaotic, devouring beast that like it can't exist, like it eats itself when it hasn't got a food source, sort of thing. I really like that sort of thing. But before, like we'd done this, if you had asked me before we talked about it, and maybe we should do this in the future, what I would rate the
an initial and then a rating at the end as well.
I probably would have given it less than 10. I would have said it's like it's okay, it's like a 9. But now I think I'm going to be giving it probably like an 11. I'd say challenge rating 11, because it's probably better than a Manticore, but Manticore's got probably a little bit more versatile, and thus I put it about 11 because it's still cool, and I do like a lot of things about it. But as you say, it is just a monster that is a big, strong monster.
Right. Well, I'm gonna rate it based on playing against it, and I just remember like out of the lots of the as a player character, I've done quite a few encounters over my years, and I remember one of the Hydras being one of the especially the first time we did it was like it was like quite impactful.
Yeah.
And I think it was quite interesting having a monster that has a very different mechanic to just obviously you are just trying to get its health down and stuff, but I think
you are, but there's more to think about.
There's more to think about than just doing the biggest number, because that tends to not be the best way.
Yeah. And as we were talking about before, like a creative DM will use that in different ways to make it more interesting.
I totally take on board the lack of versatility, but I'm going to give it a 13.
I think that's completely reasonable, man.
Yeah.
Again, it's a good monster. It's just it hasn't captured my imagination quite in the same way that the ghoul has. Yes. So, Neil, did you give it a number?
I have not given it a number. I'm going harsh with it because of what I remember giving the Manticore. Because I put the Manticore around middle, like 10, 11, 12, something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going like 9 or 10, probably 9. I really like Hydras.
You do,
but I'm being conservative with it.
And we agreed in episode 1 with the Manticore that we're not going to be giving things like 18 and 20 straight out the gate. We're going to have a good think about it, and I think that's fair. Because when I think about my favourite monsters in D&D, and I think about my least favourite monsters in D&D, they're significantly better to me than what we've seen so far. Anyway, maybe
I love the Hydra, and Sam, it was a great pick.
Thank you very much.
100%. It's
a fantastic piece of art.
Yes,
thank you very much. It's a good monster, and I think any campaign can get a Hydra in it. I think that's and if you can't put a Hydra in your campaign, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a better campaign.
Get a better. If your DM won't give you a Hydra,
riot.
Quit.
Apocalypse pants.
Yeah. Oh God. We have lots of plans about other sorts of videos that we could be doing. D&D related still, and drawing still probably. So if you want to see more of that sort of thing, you could subscribe.
I mean, I do.
Yeah. I mean, we're all subscribed.
I'm subscribed to the channel.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep doing it because we enjoy it, regardless of the critical response.
And you know what? It's episode 3.
Yeah.
It's episode 3, so I'm gonna put it out there. Yeah, hater. You are there. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing it.
You know what? I don't think we have haters because we don't have fans yet.
We just have haters and traitors.
If we have haters before we have fans, that's gonna be a sad day. Oh, that'd be tragic.
You just created them.
But yeah.
See you crater, guys.
See, please. I'm not sure I can stand.
We had a good time crating today.
No, that doesn't even work.